Today we are playing Deck Hunter. It is an early access game off of Steam, and we're going to kind of demo it. I've got a tutorial video also, but this is the first level. If you like rogue type games, this one's a card game, rogue type. It's actually somewhat difficult overall, which is good, but there's some elements to it, like when you use your abilities, you see in the top right of the card, it's got a number there. Each battle you get charges basically up top, and each time you use one of those cards, that number will tick down. When you use the card enough times, it'll actually level up to a better version of the card. So primarily you want to make sure you're using your cards appropriately for the boss or the enemy you're fighting. And secondarily, you want to level up the cards you want to level up. There's also an alchemy mechanic to it, which is kind of interesting, and I'll show you that whenever I get that triggered. So we're going to do that. And in addition, there's combos with cards. And every time you do a combo that you figured out, it'll show up in this book here. And when you look in the book, it'll tell you what the effect is. Like if you use 2 strikes in a row, you get bonus damage. 2 shields in a row, you get bonus defense, so on and so forth. It looks more complicated than it is, but really if you use the same level of card, like Defender, this is the level 2 version of Defender once it's leveled up, it does a better effect. So as long as you're matching the same level of card, see the 1-star versus 2-star, the combos are very similar between the different levels. It doesn't let you mix and match like a level 1 card with a level 2 card. You don't get a bonus effect. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing is if you kill your enemies too quickly, you won't maximize your charges of your alchemy in the corner of the card. So if you keep the combos in mind and keep the charging of your upgrades in mind, sorry I said alchemy, but I'll show you the alchemy when I get there. So he's going to hit me for 8 damage here. I've got 13 defense. I'm not worried about it, so I'm going to use an attack card. It's similar to a lot of card games out there, but the rogue element does let you build up the levels of the card, which is more interesting, and the alchemy element is kind of fun too. And then I'm going to block this guy, but I want to check the alchemy points on my card so I can kind of 2-for-1 it to make sure I am using the ones that are closest to leveling up. These are all the same because I just started, so just something to look at when you're going through your cards. And if you don't manage it perfectly, when you get to the boss, it's pretty difficult. If you manage it well, the boss isn't as bad. Now he's going to do a debuff, so I'm just going to all-out attack. This is a 0 cost card, and when it has Forget on it, it means it's out of your deck for the rest of the combat. It'll come back later. So I'm going to go ahead and use this because it's no charge, and I just want to get it out of my deck so I don't draw it again. And now I'm going to open up some damage on the guy. I'm going to use my 2-strike combo because I want more damage. If I wanted defense, I would change the order I did that. These are the same as well, so I'm going to use one of those just to charge up the card. If I didn't want to charge that shield card, I would just end my turn and use the charge on a different card. Alright, he's going to hit me for 10. I only have 5 defense, but based on the combo, if I use the shield second, if you look in here, I will get bonus defense. So strike, then defender, I get 2 extra, so I won't take as much damage if I do it that way. So I'm going to pick my strike card that's closest to leveling, so I'm not going to use the number 8, I'm going to use the number 7. And I'm going to use this. Now I've used up all the charges from this battle, so I no longer have to consider charges when I take my actions. And I'll go ahead and use my heal ability here, which has a Forget, so you can't use it again this combat. There are some heal cards that do let you reuse them during the combat, and they're very useful, so if you see those, try to grab them. And he's going to hit me for 12. I can either defend through it, or I can kill him, because if I use these 2, plus my damage, a bonus of 5, that will take him out. So I'm going to explain the alchemy icon. When this icon shows up, it shows that you're eligible for alchemy, but you have to have the cards in your hand to do the alchemy. And all the cards that can do alchemy will have a little icon that looks like this symbol on the left side of it. None of these have that, so I won't be able to use the alchemy. I haven't got enough cards to do that. But if I did have something I wanted to use the alchemy for, I would probably defend through this until I drew the 2 I wanted into my hand. So managing your deck size is pretty important in this too, so you can get the cards you want when you want them. And there's a lot of ways to delete that as you go through the level. So each combat you will get an option to pick something. Sometimes it's the same card, sometimes it's the same card at different levels or ranks, so just kind of keep an eye on that. If I look at these, this one here has an alchemy card, so I can potentially mix that with something and find an alchemy recipe. I'm not really sure what that would be, but I'm actually going to take this one because corrosion damage is kind of handy, and I'll show you how that plays out as I go through. And then you get your XP. If you click skip, it just jumps it up faster. And we're going to continue. You want to look at your path when you go. I went ahead and looked at this ahead of time, but this one's pretty straightforward. Some of them will fork left or right. What you're looking for primarily are treasures, because those will last between runs. So you can get some treasure and it'll carry over into the forge area. And eventually, if you get all these materials, you can forge stuff. This one here, which is what's needed here, I got from the first boss. I'm assuming the silver here will be from the second boss, who I have yet to beat. And of course, all of the products get more expensive as they get better. But you'll notice here this bandit helm, I've not equipped anything yet. I don't even know what it does because it doesn't tell you. It's, like I said, it's early access, so it doesn't have all those nice tooltips yet. But it looks like the first things I'm going to go for are the bandit items, because the helmet at least doesn't require the material from the second boss. So the chests are key to leveling up gear, and the gear does I don't know what. I think it allows access to cards and things, but we'll see if I ever get there. Alright, this guy's going to defend, so I can either hit him really hard before he defends. Again, I have 10 more charges to level up my cards with. So if you want the same cards, you can actually just skip turns or just defend through them so that you can get to the cards you want to skill up. So I'm going to go ahead and use my healing potion to help top off my health here. And then I'm going to slap him with some attacks. And you see that bonus damage triggered by doing the combo. Now he's got himself some armor. I'm going to use this to get it out of my deck, and it'll be active. I don't have anything to alchemize yet, but I'm not going to draw it again. 10 damage coming. 2 of these would do the trick. If they wouldn't, you can rely on the bonus abilities. I've got 3 of them that have 7 charge, so I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of those. And then I can either use another one just to try to get the charge up on the top right to level it up, or I can just skip and try to get my attacks skilled up. So I'm going to skip it since I have enough defense and just not spend that extra energy on the bottom left. That's what you use to pay for your cards. Alright, so I'm going to show you what corrosion damage does. Oh, and this guy's got a resurrect ability. That's only relevant if he's not the only one in combat. If you kill him, he comes back 3 turns later. This is his type. He's undead. Certain cards will trigger based on the creature's type. And this is his defense. Well, that's what he's going to cast. His defense actually shows on the left. It clears at the end of each round. So what we're going to do here is, before he gets his guard up, I could potentially get very close to killing him, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I use up all of these charges up here before I do that. I'm going to use that, and you'll see the corrosion. It will deal that 3 damage at the end of the turn, then it ticks down, and it'll deal 2 damage, then 1 damage. So you have a nice knock-in number thing there. Alright, now I pick which one I'm going to use based on the charges I want, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to combo him with the other one. And that's it. He's done. I could have stayed a little longer and gotten a couple of those charges. And this is one of the cards that can heal you but does not have Forget, but does cost 2 energy. And it's also alchemizable. Or I can get this better version, which costs 1, does not give you armor, but has Forget. I'm going to go ahead and get that just to make sure my health is always topped. Becomes pretty relevant Your goal is basically just to soup yourself up before you hit the boss, because the bosses are pretty legit. And attrition damage really adds up in this. So what I usually do is try to get them to a level where I can easily kill them before I start spending turns just trying to heal myself and draw cards to top off my health. It's going to hit me for 8, so I'm going to want to use this and the number 6 of this, and it's got a combo to give you extra defense, so now I have enough to block it. And I'm going to go ahead and use this just because it'll finish off healing me, and I don't think I'm going to get damage from this guy before I get him. It's possible. We'll see. Use the 5 charges, kind of get that skilled up. Use the 7. There we go. Now he's within striking distance of being killed in one turn pretty easily. So now I can just milk out the points here before I move on and finish him off. Or if I didn't have enough to defend through it, I could go ahead and finish him off. That way I can avoid taking the damage. I'm going to use this corrosion item. And then I'm going to defend the rest. Well, defend one more. And then that'll use up all my charges. Then I'll hit him with another one. And then the corrosion damage should finish him off, now that I've used up my charges here. And again, this alchemy icon lights up, but unless you have 2 to combine, it's not useful. And that's a victory. And you'll notice he actually got to attack before he died, so I did take some damage at the end of that. Now I'm definitely going to get this level up card. You get an energy, you draw a card. It's one-time use, but it costs 0, so you're literally just replacing it and getting an energy. So if you had infinite of those in your deck, you could infinitely take your turn. Obviously you wouldn't get anything good to use, but anyway, more of those the better. And what the levels do on this is they basically unlock more card options. This is a little roulette wheel. Half of the things are bad, so they're not super negative. You get a curse or -1 life, or you get +1 max life, or a good card. And these wells are pretty useful too, because they have, you can remove 1 to 3 cards. Downside is you have to remove at least 1, so you can't back out of it. What I like to do is if I have upgraded defense cards, I'll remove some of the crappier ones that have the higher number to charge them up. Or if I have better attack cards, I'll remove the crappier attack cards. So I'm just going to take 1 from each, and that'll basically improve my likelihood of getting these other cards without hampering my deck too much, because I took evenly from the attack and the defense. And then if I look over here, I have a couple heal cards. This is a damage card, so I'm going to go ahead and pop out 1 more of my strike cards, since I have an alternative damage card. That way I'm not getting too many attack cards and not enough defense cards, because that attrition damage really does add up if you're not careful. Here we are. This guy's a creature type. He's going to add a card I don't want into my deck, and you can't do much about it. There may be cards to do something about it, but I don't have them. And if they're immune to anything, they'll have an immunity icon down here above their head, below their health. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with the corrosion damage and some normal damage. And then if I use this first and then the shield, I'll get bonus shield. If I use the shield first and attack, I'll get a card out of my discard deck. But if you don't have enough energy to use it, it's not that relevant. So now I'm looking at which ones I'm going to use for the points here. We're going to do that and hit them. Then we'll end our turn. Alright, there's my card I like. I'm going to use that to make sure it levels up. Go ahead and throw out the alchemy portal, even if I'm not going to use it. And here we go. Now he's going to die from the corrosion, so I want to make sure I use these up. Probably shouldn't have hit him so hard. But I'll go ahead and use them just to use as many of those points up as I can. I like the health gain items. They're useful, especially if they're not the forget types. Never heal. I'm going to just drop a defense card. Don't really have to. It's kind of a decision at that point. Okay, another random Wheel of Doom. I get my max life increased or decreased by 1, get a curse card or a positive card. And if you hit these, you don't have a choice. You just have to do them. Hey, that offsets the last spin I did. We'll go here. I don't want to remove a card right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and heal even though I don't need it. And go for the treasure. Okay, none of these paths really matter. They're all just a boss, and it's the same boss as far as I know. At least on this level it is. Alright. I don't like the spiders. They put poison on you, which messes up your cards, or they put corrode on you, which stacks up. So we're gonna just destroy the spider as quickly as possible. And I checked to make sure he wasn't immune to corrosion before hitting them. Some of them are immune to corrosion. And now I got my free energy, so I can slap him with these. And if I wanted to try to level it up, I'd use it even though I'm full, but I'm just not going to use it because I'm going to take some damage here. Use the 3-pointer to hit him. There we go. It's really not a bad roguelite. I like the little leveling up element. Now here's I've got the negative card. It costs 0, but it clutters up my deck. And if I use it, it gets rid of it, but it poisons me. And neither of them are attacking me, so I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do to this spider. If I use the defend first and attack, I'll get a card out of my little graveyard area here. Unfortunately, I didn't get another attack card. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up a defense and use this to get it out of my deck. Now the poison's annoying. You just take that little damage after you use up the little negative card they put in your hand. But that removes it, so I don't have to deal with it for the draw, which is good. But the bad is I take damage every turn. And it says drill damage, so that basically ignores your defense. But this spider's not going to give me hassle anymore because he's gone. And unless it's a curse, these little negative cards will leave my deck at the end of the combat. So you don't always have to use them up unless it's a longer combat, then you have to make that choice. I'm going to take 8 damage from this guy, so I'm not going to use these because I don't want to take even more. And I think I can finish him off next turn. That being said, I might want to cycle through some of my heal cards before I do that. Fortunately, he's going to get to hit me before he falls over. It's something to keep in mind when you defend or not. we'll get a second one of those swords with the corrode. Because if you look at your cards here, I'll show you in the next combat, but if you look at your cards, it's definitely good to have duplicates, because if you level them both up, a lot of times you can alchemize them. So if you look here, I have this. It does not have alchemy, but I do like the corrosion, because if you get more than one on them, they actually add up, and it lasts more turns and does more damage. These guys open up with a giant can of ouch, so we're going to fight them. I'm going to try to take out the spider first, because he buffs them so they do even more damage, and the longer he's alive, the longer the combat goes, and it's not a good time. And I can either hit him or heal my health. I'm going to go ahead and hit him, and then after I take this big chunk of damage, I'll use my health cards as they come up. He's immune to stun, not to corrode, so I can go ahead and hit him with these. And the combo for that, which is the new one I discovered, apparently adds some poison to them, so that's even better. And none of them are hitting me, so I don't need to use my defense cards, so I'm going to go ahead and get him again. And I'm going to choose to use this one because it will level up. Now I level it up, I've got the next tier of that card. The main boss also gets larger as you go, but this guy can also buff him on top of that, and it gets really nasty. Now this turn they all got a bunch of defense, so I'm limited what I can do here. But I can go ahead and apply some corrode to him again, and that'll last till the next area. And now I've used up my alchemy points, or my leveling up points, so there's not really a good reason for me to use these unless I just feel like doing it for fun. And next turn I'll focus on actually attacking that guy to get rid of him. You see that corrosion, it takes every turn, and it's pretty good once you add it up. Let's see. He's going to decrease my defense and attack. That sounds fun. So let's do what we can to avoid that. Okay, well, I may as well use my heal. Draw some cards. And then these do nothing. I gotta put them on my deck. You just spend money to get rid of them, but at least they don't hurt you. And spider down. I'm going to start corroding that guy up. And it's really important to watch these icons to see if they're going to hit you or not. It's not very fun to use a shield and then they don't hit you. Now this is 16 plus 20 total. This is going to be an ouchie turn no matter what I do. So we're going to shield again. And it's not enough, but I'm going to go ahead and hit this guy. You got to get him out of the game too. Alright, now as we mentioned with our combos, if I strike him and strike him again, I'll get bonus 5 damage. So let's put him out of commission. And he is not immune to corrode either, so let's get him going with some corrosion stacks. He's only got 2 corrode, but the beautiful part is when I use this, it brings him up to 5 corrode. So not only does it do its damage, but it scales even higher and lasts more turns. And then when that guy dies, he gives you a curse. Now you can alchemize the curses, and it basically kills the curse, but it also kills one of your cards and gives you an alchemist stone. And you can combine the alchemist stone for and actually a good card if you have 2 of them. So 2 points. I've got some defender guys. I'm gonna go and defend and then hit this guy for some damage. Big pile of useless stuff, so that's fun. I'm gonna get rid of 2 of those and heal. Plus side is there's not a fight after the boss, so as long as I can take him out before he takes me out, doesn't matter what my health is at the end. Alright, so I have a defense one. Now, there is a defense combo where if you strike first and then shield, you get the bonus defense. However, I only have 1-star versions of the strike, so the combo won't work. So I'm going to go ahead and with this, try to mitigate some of the damage with that, and then hit him with a little bit more. I could have done my 2 strikes, but I wanted to keep stacking the corrosion. Which means it gets chunking him down pretty well. It's a combination of a DPS race and being able to defend what he's throwing at you, so it gets pretty interesting. But he's in trouble now. He's going to take 14 corrode damage, which is great. And he's gone next turn no matter what I do. So, you can throw some combos out there just for fun. And you'll notice if you do extra combos at the end, if it's an XP battle, you will get some extra XP. So I got a choice of 3 cards. This frail ability is when your hit points go under that number, the effect activates. So that would give me energy, does 20 damage, or heals 20 HP. I kind of figure if I'm at the point where I'm at 30 hit points, I probably want to heal for 20. These do also kind of clutter up your desk though, because they cost 4 energy, so yeah, good luck using it. So my crafting material. You see the combo XP. That's why I went ahead and threw that extra combo out instead of just finishing him off anyway, because you do get XP from comboing things. And that is Area 1-1 of this. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be doing Area 2-2 here in a second. And if you like, subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And this is a nice little roguelite available on Steam Early Access called Deck Hunter. Have a great day, guys.